Troy! Love it.
Before we start, I changed my story at the last minute last night. I don't know why. But this is not a funny story, so just be prepared. Okay, ready? I think it was, we had just got out of 8th grade, I had just graduated. And it was during the summer, and so I was getting ready for my friend's birthday, and so it was, his birthday day, we were hanging out at his house, having fun playing some video games, and this girl he knew walked in, her name was Stacy. She, walked in, and he introduced me, my friend Frankie introduced me to this girl, and we immediately hit it off. We listened to the same music, we watched the same TV shows, read the same books. I mean, we were practically the opposite versions of each other. And so I took her to her favorite concert, which at the time was Bullet for My Valentine. And I remember that day, I was 14 years old, and I grew some pretty big huevos. After they finished playing, I got up on the stage, because I talked to the band before, and they were like, we're cool with this. I got up on the stage, and I was like, in the audience, there's a very special person to me right now. Her name is Stacy, and I want to ask her a very special question. Well, 2 years had gone by, about 2 years, we were getting to that 2-year mark. It was going to be the summer of junior year, and finals were that day. It was the first day of finals, and she didn't show up for school. And so I was like, okay, maybe she's sick, something happened. I sent her a text, I called her and left her a message. I didn't get a reply, so I figured she was, pretty sick. That day turned into a couple of days. I'm freaking out, I haven't heard anything from her, I haven't got a call, no messages, and I've left several, and I haven't gotten anything. So those couple of days turned into a couple of weeks. That couple of weeks turns into 3 months. Around that time, her mom, who had just gotten out of jail, calls me on the phone, and she starts to tell me this whole story. Well, the day that she didn't show up, her mom had gone to jail for something really stupid. I don't even remember at this point. And the court deemed the house that they were living in, was her and her mom, they deemed it unsafe for Stacy to live in. And so she had to move to Illinois and live with her uncle, which was her, closest living relative. And she was very susceptible to cigarette smoke. She was allergic to it, and she would get pretty severe reactions whenever she came in contact to it. And her uncle was a pretty big smoker. And she told me that when she got to Illinois, about a couple of weeks after that, she developed lung cancer. And they didn't realize that until she got to the hospital, because she wasn't getting out of bed, she wasn't moving, she was sick, she was throwing up blood. And they caught the cancer in its final stages. And she passed away about a month after that. And I heard all of this over the phone. And I remember I was staying at my friend's house because my parents were out of town for a week and a half. And so I was staying at my friend's house because they didn't want me staying alone. And so I remember getting this call, and I hung up. I walked out of my friend's house, down the street to my house. I got in my room, and I put both of the dressers that I had in my room against the door, and I took my bed and put it up against my window. And I sat like that for about a week and a half until my parents, showed up. And they found me in my room, and they called the fire department because I was passed out on the floor. They brought EMS, and the EMS took me to the hospital. And the doctor, I stayed 2 weeks in the hospital, and the doctor looked at me and was like, it's a miracle that you're alive. You didn't eat, you didn't drink. I mean, you have intestinal issues because you didn't properly use the restroom. And I looked at him, and I said, miracles don't exist. The time that, I got out of the hospital, I was fucked up. I mean, I tried to commit suicide twice, and I remember sending a kid to the hospital because he cracked some stupid joke about Stacy after her death. I threw a desk at him and hopped on top of him and kept swinging until I didn't recognize him anymore. And I remember one day I was sitting on my bed, And I was like, I just hate the world. You know, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be where I am. And, you know, you get that feeling sometimes like someone's watching you. And I was sitting on the bed, and I remember I felt like something right here. And I didn't know what to think of it at the time because I didn't know, like, what it was. And I remember this warm feeling, like feeling that everything's gonna be okay. And like, at that moment, I was like, I need to keep going. Like, I can't end it here. I need to push on. Because going out like this is not how it should be. And so I kept going, and I got to where I am today. And I'm standing in front of you telling all of you this because you all are a part of what I would have missed if I had ended it at that moment. And that is the moral of the story, is that suicide is not going to help you create those memories. It's not going to help you get to where you are or where you want to be. It is a temporary end to something that lasts a lifetime. And the second moral is also to tell the people that you love right now that you love them, because they could be taken from you in an instant. You don't know when they're gonna go, you don't know how they're gonna go. Life can decide to, you know, totally fuck you over and take them just like that. So tell the people that you love right now that you love them, and make sure that they know.